This week, you have an assignment that involves developing outcomes for a logic model. To help you better understand the components of a logic model and how they are related, I have created this brief tutorial. Let's get started. Logic models come in all shapes and sizes. More often than not, they are made up of approximately 6 sections. Logic models are often depicted in table form, and the 6 sections serve as headers for each of the 6 columns in the table. Logic models are read row by row from left to right so that you can see how each section aligns within a single row. The first column are the program inputs. These are the resources that you need in order to successfully plan, implement, and evaluate the program. Knowing the landscape of the program, what do you need to do to prepare for each of the selected activities to make sure that everything will flow smoothly? The second column are the program activities. These are the strategies used in a program to bring about change. When it's time to create a logic model for the program that you're working to develop, the activities column will be comprised of the 3 strategies that you select for the assignment that's in week 5 of this course, so I encourage you to look ahead. The third column are the program or activity outputs. Outputs are the product or result of the activity. This section establishes context for the short-term, intermediate-term, and long-term outcomes that follow, and is often defined by things like participation or reach. The 4th, 5th, and 6th columns are the program or activity outcomes, more specifically short-term outcomes, intermediate-term outcomes, and long-term outcomes. Outcomes in a logic model predict the impact your program will have on its participants at various points in time post-completion. Short-term outcomes reflect the immediate impact of the activities, for example, at the end of a 6-week nutrition education series. Intermediate-term outcomes reflect the impact of the activity several weeks to months later, and long-term outcomes reflect the impact of the activity or program years later. The outcome should reflect a chain reaction of sorts that occurs as a result of the respective activity. So here's one way to create outcome statements that follow this idea of the chain reaction approach. Short-term outcome statements may reflect changes in determinants of health, like knowledge or attitudes. Intermediate-term statements may reflect changes in behavior, and long-term statements may reflect changes in health outcomes, like obesity rates or blood pressure. It's important to note that outcome statements don't always follow this rule. The more focused your short-term outcome statement is, the more narrow your long-term outcome statement will be. The opposite is also true. What's critical is that you're able to show how one level affects the next. Now let's pull everything together. When you look at the model as a whole, the reader should be able to see the inputs that are needed to support or prepare for each activity. Activities are the strategies that make up your program and produce a desired result or output, like participation or reach. This output results in changes like knowledge, attitudes, access, availability, which can lead to a change in behavior, which may further lead to a change in some aspect of personal or community health. I hope this has helped to clarify the idea or concept of logic models. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to your instructor.